From the Oklahoman newsroom, this is an OSU update. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Kyle Fredrickson. Kyle, a name extremely familiar to Cowboy fans, that would be David Glidden, is returned to Oklahoma City. We know he made a push to try to get in the NFL. Didn't work out, and you got a chance to catch up with him. He's not only familiar to OSU fans, but familiar to folks where he is. Tell us what you found.
David Glidden wearing the Mike Gundy visor in his new coaching role, taking the Josh Cooper route, going back to Mustang. It's pretty cool to see him out there with his whistle and his kind of coaching outfit there. Being that we've seen him as a playmaker for the Cowboys these past few years as slot receiver, but with his college career ending, Glidden goes out to Atlanta, gets an invite to camp with the Falcons, but doesn't make that roster cut. So like a lot of these guys who maybe aren't the most physically talented players but have a lot of mental talent in the game, coaching is a natural fit. And for Glidden, going back to Mustang like Josh Cooper did, I feel like is probably a career route that he could probably take if he hopes to, as opposed to doing something in the pros.
Well, and you know, he's a guy that we expected because of his size was not going to be a first choice of a lot of NFL teams, but you never know. You know, stuff happens. Is he staying in shape with the hope of maybe getting a call, or how does he balance the, you know, maybe looking towards his next career in football coaching while not giving up on the NFL?
Well, he's young enough now to where he doesn't feel like he has to close that door, but he also said he has to be realistic. You know, there's guys who sort of hope and pray that this is an opportunity they get, and maybe they'll go play an arena league or even go to another continent to play football. Glidden isn't willing to go that far. He understands sort of his limitations, but he impressed Matt Ryan in camp, going as far as say that Glidden was really impressive in OTAs. When asked about some of the newcomers that caught his eye, Glidden was among those first players. So we've seen his smarts, being able to get out into open field and make those big plays, but just with his size, being a smaller guy, not a lot of those guys stick around the pros.
And I have to think a lot of the guys, though, at Mustang, he may not be appreciated right now by the NFL types, but those kids at Mustang, I'm sure a lot of them remember David Glidden, not just from his OSU days, but from his days in a Mustang uniform.
Oh, no doubt. He was the Gatorade Player of the Year in 2012. We forget that with Glidden, just being that his college career wasn't, that, award-laden, I guess. You know, he was a very solid player for the Cowboys. But he was a legend in those parts, what he was able to do on special teams, defense, offense. He returned a bunch of interceptions for touchdowns as a senior. So among those guys, he has instant respect. And I think as he's slowly kind of transitioned into this role, his ability to pass on some of that knowledge, the very fine-tuned technique stuff, worked for Glidden in his OSU days, hoping to make that work out there in Mustang.
All right. Thanks, Kyle. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.